Cool. Right. Well, we'll leave it there with that. And I guess we'll move on to the meat and potatoes of the show. So it's E3 predictions time. So I'm going to go round the other way this time, and we're going to talk to Mr. Ratley first. Mr. Ratster Tweets.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Back to normal again. Phil's lost.
Look at me being all excited.
So,
By the way, you gets me first and then complains immediately afterwards I'm not first anymore. What the
never
hell?
happened.
It's like,
I'm joking.
yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
never happy. Just go out and farm some beets, Phil. Go on.
Yeah, I just
Anyway.
fair enough. I just like to also point out before I do predictions, this is not a declaration of my love of drugs. I just want to be very clear on that. This is a band T-shirt from Skunk and Nancy.
Okay.
If you haven't, go listen to it.
Oh, I thought that was
like,
I thought that was a declaration of your love of Skunk the animal
well, you know,
and their friendly
Pungent
odor. Should we say?
But I just need to declare that, you know, like I'm not anti-drug, but I'm not like sitting here promoting drugs to all the young people going, you know. So, what I want to hear first from all you boys, and we're going to start with Mr. Ratley, is I would like to hear a couple of 3 predictions of what you think we're going to see at E3 next week. It's going to be fire away. Well, I think starting with Xbox, one thing I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. We'll get some more info on quite what it will be. I don't know, but Perfect Dark. We got that teaser, didn't we? And you know, Perfect Dark. I mean, I'm down for more Perfect Dark. I don't know what it's going to be. Whether we're going to get more, just a bigger info dump as to what it is in a new trailer or something. But I hope we'll get to see some substance about the game as opposed to just a pre-rendered announcement trailer.
Okay,
Super excited for that because I loved the first Perfect Dark back in N64 days. I wasn't as keen on, you know, Perfect Dark on the Xbox. Let's just say that.
Zero.
I think that's fair to say. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It just kind of fell short of its legacy. That did in a big way. You know, like the legacy of Perfect Dark was.
I just want to say, Ratley, are these two just looking at their phones so that they're not even listening to you?
Oh no, it's actually. He gave me another idea for my E3 prediction, so I just want to make sure I don't forget it.
I however, am not going to make
so-
a feeble excuse. I was looking at Facebook.
Cheers, Alan. I'll just leave.
Yeah, I actually can't do that because my phone is my webcam, so there's no way for me to do do that.
Sorry, Ratley. I totally
Alan's just
jumped
going to
in.
lean back and look bored now. That's all he's going to do instead. Just unleash that beast. So Perfect Dark. I'm quite looking forward to seeing more about that. I think that would be cool.
Do you think?
Obviously, a big one. Go on. You going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say. So, I mean, obviously, you think there's going to be there then? I mean, because it's quite early days. So, when did that studio formed in 2017? Did it or 2018?
So, I say it's quite early days, and we're like 2017, 2018. That's 5 years ago, and you're like, it's quite early days. That
mate, they could knock out a Mass Effect in 18 months.
Yeah, but they opened
well.
the studio. I think they're still recruiting for people.
Yeah, but you know, like it doesn't have to be. I'm not asking for a full gameplay demo and like, you know, a release date. I just want like a bit more substance. Like, well, yeah, I mean, it'd be great. Don't get me wrong, it'd be great if they went, yeah, this teaser was like a thing. We've been working on this the whole time. We're this close to release. It'd be incredible. But I'd equally just like them to give us a bit more info about what kind of game we can expect. Is it just going to be another exactly the same as we've had before, or are we going to get something different? You know, is this going to be a fresh take on the series? You know, I mean, the trailer was awesome. Like, it added like all these questions about, you know, hold on, you know, there was a lot of stuff in the trailer, like, you know, the way it was all put together, and it's. I just want to know more about it. You know, the teaser was enough to get me excited to go. I want more. You know.
So, do you
okay,
think
cool.
that Microsoft are going to give us the Splinter Cell since Ubisoft won't?
Well, this is actually. Do you know what? I don't think it's actually going to be Splinter Cell, but I think it's going to be Splinter Cell-esque.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to have
they're going to
elements of
give us the Splinter
yeah.
Cell game that Ubisoft just won't do, and they just keep putting it into other games instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be. I'm hoping there'll be that's kind of one of the things we'll see, a kind of an element of that coming into it, and you know, I want a bit more clarity. It's all I want. I don't want the whole game announced and a full like release date and here's a gameplay trailer and here's all this, that, and the other. You know, even if we just got an early look at like what the studio are doing and what their idea is to move Perfect Dark forward. Just you know, I'm excited for Perfect Dark. You know, like you know, I just like to see more of it. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know for sure, but like Microsoft are really going on these like studio exclusives, etc. So let's hope they decide to
to push that one in. You know, like it
nice.
could be really good, I reckon.
Yeah. I like
Good
the
choice.
idea of a third-person stealth. It does sound very
Well,
interesting.
I think third person with stealth elements, like and then also some heavy action elements. So sort of doing
And
the best of
gadgets.
Splinter Cell with the best. Yeah, I mean the gadgets thing is
Gadgets,
definitely
we
hinted
need
at in that
gadgets.
trailer hard. So the gadgets thing was something I was super excited to see. There's so much in that trailer that potentially leads you to so many different routes, and this is kind of why I don't want to get my hopes up for a Perfect Dark like stealth third person thing, and then it'd be like just a full on action game. I mean that'd probably still be great, but like I say all I want is clarity. That's what I'm looking for really. So yeah, that's that.
Nice. Cool.
The next one for me is fairly obvious. I think like what I'm looking forward to. So I hope we're going to get more Division Heartland info or some Division 2 updates. So we know there's new content coming for Division 2. We don't know what that is going to look like. It's supposed to come out at the end of this year. So to me, E3 seems like a real opportunity to sort of dump some info on Heartland and go, right, especially to kind of bring the narrative back to what Ubisoft wanted to be and not what the leaks made it. They want to, probably put some actual info into people's hands about what it is, clear up a few things, because obviously that, I don't think that, I know we covered it, me and you, Craig. I don't think that necessarily that, whilst I said I was very excited for the prospect of what it looked like it could be, I don't think the way it came out did them any favours at all. And so I think Ubisoft need to reclaim that narrative and get back on top of that. But Division 2 content, I just want to know what this new content is for Division 2. Like, because I've put so many hours in Division 2. I love Division 2. I'm crying for fresh content at the minute. So I'm hoping that we get a Division 2 info dump and it's a new game mode or some really substantive content, because the community obviously went crazy when they sort of did what they did, and then we got this thing. So I'm hoping, because we've had this like long development cycle, it's not just going to be a case of we just repurposed this and done this, that, and the other, because that I think would upset a few people, to say the least, shall we say. So I'm hoping that we get some decent content and an announcement for that at the Ubisoft one. So yeah, that's that. Go on.
Do you think it's time for Division 2 to go free to play and have Heartland as a part of that? Because they can't be selling a huge amount of Division 2, and I often see it on really deep sale, sort of like 3 or 4 quid.
The Division's never gone free to play. The Division 2, I don't know, it's one of these things that I think maybe with games like this, I know Destiny's gone free to play to a degree, hasn't it? There's a caveat with Destiny's free to play, isn't there? Like, it's not all free to play. You have to buy the expansion, don't you? Yeah. So, the time for them to have gone free to play with Division 2 would have been when they did Warlords of New York, I think. Maybe they could do it now and still say that you have to buy Warlords to play. You're right there, Alan.
Just having a back scratch. There's no need to bring attention to it, boys.
So I don't know. I think it wouldn't hurt the game to give more players to it, but I also think maybe they don't want to do that to pull away from what Heartland, because if they suddenly make the Division 2, which I hate to say it looks like it might be a bigger experience than Heartland, if that suddenly becomes free to play, what's the encouragement for free to play on Heartland? I don't know.
Well, I was almost thinking,
could a cheeky DLC?
Yeah, could Heartland be a new game mode within Division 2 and you travel to it from
I see the idea there, but from the looks of things, while the systems are similar, they're not the same. And I think that's what separates Heartland from it. It might be that you can just launch it from within Division 2, I don't know. But by the sounds of things, it's going to be a fully standalone experience. It wouldn't, but that doesn't mean they won't have a part of where you go to the helicopter select your destination. It's not straight to Heartland, and it doesn't just load up Heartland. I don't know, who knows at this point. I've always said it was a shame that they never tied the Division 1 map to Division 2, that would have been, I think that's the content that the community has been crying for as well, is to have the New York map fully realized in Division 2 with like the summer setting. I love the winter setting and I would love to go back to winter, but I think if you're going to bring New York back into Division 2, we've obviously had part of New York in Warlords, but bring back the rest of Manhattan that we had in Division 1 in like a summer setting. I'd be all over that. There'd be so much I'd go back to, but I think it's quite a big project. I think it's a lot bigger than a lot of people realise, because one thing that a lot of people don't know, and this is where it gets really silly, detail driven, is that although the Division 1's recreation of Manhattan was accurate in terms of the map layout, etc., it wasn't one-to-one scale accurate like Washington was and Warlords was. So they'd have to go back and seriously jiggle the map around just to make that work. But God, I think one thing that I think everyone in the community wanted was a bigger single dark zone for Division 2, like, for example, the dark zone from Division 1. So if the new content just happened to be, we've revamped the dark zone of Division 1, and here you go, you've got it as a playable area with like some playable content. Yeah, I think that most of the community would be all over that like a rash. So we'll see. I mean, who knows what it's going to be? I don't know. It might be that they try and tie to Heartland in a piece of DLC as well. Who knows? You know. So yeah, I'm excited for it. But there you go.
Cool.
That one.
Any more from you, Mr. Ratley?
So one more that I think is almost definitely going to show up, and we'll see more of. And I think it might even just be to show off how pretty it is. I think it's going to be the next Hellblade. I mean, the first trailer was jaw-dropping, and everyone went, "There's no way it can look like that." And then, like, we started to see what these machines are actually capable of, and it's like, I just want to see it running like that on an Xbox.
Yeah.
You know, just to shut the nose up. Look, it's running Unreal Engine 5. We know that. We know Unreal Engine 5 is mind-blowing. You know, we know we know the kind of quality that Ninja Theory can produce. We know how good the first one was.
Yeah.
We just need, I want to see that. I'm so excited for that. Like, I've got goosebumps thinking about that trailer now. Like, I just want to see more of that. I want to know when it's coming. I'm so excited for the next Hellblade. So, and considering, like, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, well, that's pretty. And I was like, I've never actually played that that original Hellblade game. I think I'll go check that out. And I downloaded, the first Hellblade and played it, and was like total like mind-blowing experience. So more of this. I cannot wait to see what Ninja Theory are cooking up with this, because this is, I mean, just look at it.
It's staggering.
I'll tell you what else is.
Just look at it.
Sorry, speaking of the original Hellblade, I'll tell you what, there is a VR adaptation of the original Hellblade as well.
Yeah, you said. I don't ever want
And
to
that
play it.
is, I mean, you do need a strong stomach, because it's not a first person.
No.
You follow it in third person in 3D. And the experience is amazing. It adds like that extra depth to the game, but you need a strong stomach for
It
it.
comes included with vomit.
And 3D plus the three-dimensional audio that you get from that game.
Harrowing.
That is the term, harrowing.
But the thing is that's binaural audio, isn't it? It's not actually 3D audio. They're just using binaural audio, aren't they? Which is the
When I'm
that's
looking for a new game to play,
amazing.
I'm generally looking for excitement, not harrowing. Maybe an in-depth, story with real consequences. That's acceptable.
You've played this, haven't you, Alan?
Harrowing?
You've played Hellblade.
I have played it. Yeah. I've also got it on the PC, and I've got to play it as well on there. So.
See, I think it's both of those things, though. It's in-depth and exciting, and also very harrowing. There are moments in the first game where it's like,
It is.
oh, Jesus God. It's like, that is a hard game to stomach at points, just because of the way it deals with things. I think, I mean, like, if it's anywhere near as good as the first game, I'm hoping it's better, of course. Like, who doesn't want a superior sequel? But even slightly in that same league, I'll take it all day long. It's one of the greatest experiences I've had in gaming for years. Like, it's so good. So
it's
and if you haven't played Hellblade, that's a recommendation right there. Go play Hellblade. It's free on Game Pass.
Get on
from all
that
of us.
now.
Free on Game
Definitely.
Pass. And wear headphones. Always, absolutely wear headphones to play it, because you will miss out if you don't.
And if you read what headphones to wear, please watch the previous video from our Chris Ratster, who will also be doing a follow-up video to the next pair of headphones that he buys, and then another video for the next pair of headphones.
Until he owns every pair of headphones in existence.
For all your headphone
then he's
buying
gonna-
needs, please watch the Unnamed Games podcast.
Or visit Chris Ratley at Headphone Warehouse.
To buy the slightly pre-loved sets of headphones that he's now got thousands of sets of and needs to sell on so he can pay his rent.
Cool. Good stuff. Right, round now to Mr. Thunderlips McQueen. So, buddy, what are you looking forward to, and what do you think we're going to see this year at E3? Oh, look, Ratley's got his phone out now. Just check Facebook, will you?
I wasn't going to say anything you'd be interested in anyway. You go for it, buddy. No, family. Yeah, Arc 2. Yeah, I'm seriously hoping that there will be something to see from Wildcard. I mean, we only saw the teaser, which we weren't actually expecting in December Game Awards last year, and that was a bit of a shock announcement. There'd been like little rumblings that there was going to be a sequel, but nothing was confirmed, and then boom, Vin Diesel's there on the screen, giving it his family, and I'm still in shock, to be honest. The fact that Vin Diesel has clocked over 1,000 hours on Arc. I mean, I wonder if I've run into him. I wouldn't have known. I doubt he uses he actually uses in-game chat, because that'd be just like, hang on a minute, you sound familiar, mate.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving.
Oh,
swiftly-
Din
Rather
Diesel.
a character,
Yeah,
a character
Din
called,
Diesel.
guy called Dom Toretto. Or,
Yeah, exactly,
Tom,
exactly.
Tom Toretto. I'm Tom Toretto.
Wow, you sound really familiar. But I mean, there is sort of rumours that there could even be a 2022 release date, or maybe at least at the tail end of 2022. And therefore, that says to me that they're already fully into development. They've got their teeth fully into the project, and that I mean, we talked about this the other day, didn't we? With the original Ark, there are lots of graphical issues, and that's because they started off as a very small team, and basically it's layer upon layer upon layer a game engine, and unfortunately some of those layers they can't go back and change, so you end up with these graphical glitches. Whereas Ark 2 is being built from the ground up with the Unreal 5 engine, and it's going to look amazing. And I'm just seriously hoping that there's going to be another trailer, maybe some in-game content would be very nice, maybe
Right.
at this E3.
Question for you then.
Yep.
So, if we get Ark 2 at E3, where do we see it? Do we see it on one of the big stages? Is it just a random drop at some point throughout the experience?
I'm going to go with Microsoft, because, of course, Microsoft, they've got a big partnership with Wildcard, and the original Ark came out on Xbox Game Preview. So that was actually one of the first preview. I think it was either the first or one of the first.
It was,
previews.
yeah.
it was,
one of,
To
That's
actually
right,
come on that program with Xbox. And they've been in partnership with Microsoft all the way through. And Ark 2 has already been flagged as being an Xbox Series X and S launch exclusive. I mean, it is
Right.
going to come to PlayStation, and it is going to come to PC. Of course it is. There's a massive market. Well, of course, PC is included in that, I'm fairly sure, because that's all part of the same family. But
Yeah, but
those
console
PlayStation
exclusive,
boys are still going to get it, just probably a year down the line, But but it is a Series X and Series S launch exclusive. So, I would expect that if it's going to show up, I would expect it to show up on the Xbox showcase. I would hope.
Plus, the first one's on Game Pass as well, isn't it?
It is on Game Pass. It's been on Game
And-
Pass since 2019. So
Yeah. One of the early ones, wasn't it?
again,
Do
And
you
Cloud.
think this will be a Game Pass title? Do you think this will be a Game Pass title at launch now?
I doubt it. I don't think it will be. I think but I don't know. I don't know, because, as I say, they're not actually a studio that's owned by Wildcard, not like another company, a developer that I'm going to talk about in one of my other picks. They have a strong partnership with Microsoft, but they aren't actually owned by Microsoft.
But because, for example, Outriders, Square Enix own. It's
Yeah,
Square Enix,
yeah,
and they don't own them, so that did.
Don't
So,
know.
I think there's a good case
could.
for it, maybe.
Yeah, there's a good
And
possibility.
didn't I?
It may
I
very
thought I
well.
could have sworn. I mean, I could be wrong. You probably know better than I do, but I could have sworn that I saw an article where the developers were singing the praises of Game Pass and how it's done them
Yeah.
huge
They're-
favours.
they're-
So
They're big fans,
it wouldn't
especially
surprise me.
I mean, the whole thing about something like Ark is it's the player base, isn't it? You want to get as many bums on seats. So Game Pass enables them to do that, and all that additional content that they're producing for it, and they've been continuously updating it. That's where they make their money, because that doesn't drop straight onto Game Pass. It arrives on Game Pass eventually, but at first it's something that you have to buy.
Just
and that's
quickly-
where people are like, I'm going to buy that, and that's where they get their revenue. So it's been fantastic for their audience. Phil, go for it.
Just to drop in for reference, I just looked it up quickly. The original Ark Survival Evolve grossed $160 million.
Yeah.
So that's
wow.
I know Microsoft have a sizable wallet, but that's a lot of money to drop to get that into Game Pass.
That's
think,
that's a long over a long time though, isn't it? It's not going to be,
well, it says it was 170, 60. It was between 160 and 170 million.
So
but
bearing
the
in
idea of putting it on
mind-
Game Pass is that they get a percentage of that money based on how many people basically click and download it.
So if they go on the same plan that they did last time, the Xbox, it was released originally as the preview in 2015. The full launch was in 2017, and it dropped onto Game Pass in 2019. So it was actually on preview available to buy for 2 years, and actually available to buy as a full product for 2 years, and then it moved to Game Pass.
Yeah, okay, but wasn't Game Pass only really launched in like 2019? Wasn't it? Was it 2018, 2019?
I think it was one of the early adopters.
So I'm doing the Phil thing and prodding the beast and playing devil's advocate a little bit. But don't you think I mean you say, Phil, like 198 million is a lot of money, and Microsoft haven't got pockets that deep. But hold on,
I didn't say they haven't got pockets that deep.
Yeah.
I just said it's a lot of money.
But mate,
they can get it 2 years down the line.
They went 7.5 billion for ZeniMax, and then like the next quarter went Yeah, we made that like and change on that like last quarter. So I think in the big picture, that's nothing for Microsoft. Realistic, they could just
I'd love to see it. I'd absolutely
I think it'd be great for the game.
I think it'd be great for the game, great for Microsoft because it's such a popular game. It's not just me that likes it. There's a massive player base, so it's got to be
obviously
good.
Dom Toretto likes it. We know.
Well, exactly. Me and Vin Diesel were like this. Yeah, me and him. We're family. We're family. Yeah, But yeah, so that is definitely at the top of my very excited. Hope I get to see it. The second one I'm going to talk about is a little game called Avowed from a company that's been quite popular of late, and they're really turning into one of the big hitters, and that's Obsidian. And we saw that trailer. That was at the Game Awards again, wasn't it? I think that first day, trailer. Yeah. And there's a lot of information about this already. It's set in the same universe as the other games, a couple of other games that Obsidian have made, which is Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, which are more Baldur's Gate, isometric games, but massive audience. They're fantastic. I've played some of them. I've never finished them. And again, this is another Xbox Game Pass exclusive. So I would expect if it's going to show up, it's going to show up in the Xbox Showcase.
Oh, yeah.
So... and there is talk out there. There's a lot of talk out there. There's lots of rumours flying about from apparently insiders that things are actually progressing quite well, and it's actually been in production since I think it was 2000. Yeah, in development since the start of 2018. That's 3 years. So they're not just starting. They've got a developing team. Apparently, again, rumor of over 100 people who are working on this. Which, quite frankly, is twice as many people as Bethesda put in. No, I'm only kidding. I don't know how many people Bethesda put in. But it's still a fairly sizable chunk of people working on the project already. I'm not saying... the release date they're talking about is possibly late 2022, 2023. Nothing's confirmed. But I still think it's far enough along in development stage that there's a very good chance that we might see another trailer or even, God forbid, a little bit of in-game footage or even something to do with the assets. That would be very, very smexy because I am so excited about this. And I said this to you guys before about, I love Skyrim. I've loved the whole Elder Scrolls. I'm a bit out of sorts. I'm not going to lie with Bethesda. Todd Howard, you're dead to me. But
a bit out of sorts, he says.
Just a bit.
Something too hard to forgive and forget. Okay, so, but I still love the fundamental idea of their games, of Skyrim and of Obsidian, and I'm so looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6. But what I'm more excited about is the contender, is Obsidian coming up and going, do you know what? Yeah, you made Fallout. That was all right. We'll make Fallout New Vegas. Oh, ours is better, is it? Oh, you made Skyrim, did you? Well, I tell you what, let's make Avowed. Ours will be better than yours. Yeah,
and Knights of the Old Republic 2 as well. Better than the original.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So not story-wise, gameplay.
That's a controversial statement right there, Phil. That is.
The advancement in the gameplay and the mechanics. Sorry, the story was better in 1. To make that perfectly clear, the story is amazing in 1. 2 was washy, but the gameplay was amazing. The mechanics.
But my point is, at the moment, Obsidian don't seem to be able to do anything wrong. They brought out Grounded recently, which is your sandbox survival game, and everybody's raving about that straight onto Game Pass. What was the other thing they brought out recently? Outer Worlds. Absolute, fanfare. Everybody loved it. Super excited. Add-on pack, amazing sales. Everybody's singing praises of them. They can't seem to do anything wrong. So I've got high confidence in these guys that they've got the quality and they've got the nous to pull something like this together. They're a developer that can actually say, do you know what? Yeah, Bethesda, you did an all right job. We'll do better, and we're going to bring out Avowed. I'm really excited of how good Avowed could be, looking at what they've developed and created so far.
6 months ago, that was CD Projekt Red.
You had to go and stick your finger in, didn't you, Phil? But anyway, so I'm really excited. Really, really excited. Which eye are you talking? No, anyway, moving on. I'm really, really excited and hoping that we can see something of Avowed at this E3. Hopefully we can. And just a quick last one. I was just going to mention Beyond Good and Evil 2. We first saw the trailer for this in E3 2017. I believe I was round.
It's not on your list,
Craig. No, this is one I just threw.
He's just stolen my one.
Have I? I'll shut up then.
It's fine, mate. You can go for it. Take it. You're right. Go on.
I haven't got anything to say. I just chucked it in at the end because I thought about it. You do it in your bit. That's me done.
Okay, no worries. Right. Okay, so we'll move round to Mr. Phil next then.
You sure you don't want to go next since he stole your one? At the end, if you like.
I can go next.
You go next. Pick up from Beyond Good and Evil because
all right, fair enough.
And then it flows nicely.
Yeah, go for it.
No worries. Okay. Well, yeah, Beyond Good and Evil. I mean, that's something I've mentioned on several podcasts. How pumped I am for that game. I mean, ever since I first saw it, you know. The first kind of trailers came out because I never played the original Beyond Good and Evil. I went back and tried and played it, and it's a dated game now. And it was less
Ellie
about.
played it recently. Sorry, Craig.
Really?
And I kept coming downstairs and seeing her playing, and you can see it's dated. She's got the patience. She really's got a lot more patience. She's married to me. She's got mountains of patience. But she played it, and she was playing it all the way through, and you can see it's really not aged all that well. But you can see why it is a classic.
Yeah.
There's so many ideas they're trying to put in there that's different. Please carry on.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I forget the guy's name, the game designer who did the original game. I believe he's now actually left the project. He's actually left the industry completely.
He's gone to work in an animal sanctuary, apparently.
Oh, is he? Oh, right. That's definitely a mix-up. Still working with animals in a very slightly different way. Yeah, I mean, the advancement of what they've done, I mean, from the sort of trailers and kind of the gameplay stuff that we've seen, is such an advancement going forward. And I love the way that you've got this travel between different planets, they're going into the different ships. It's got mixes of all the games I love, you know, the Star Citizen. It's got the kind of the like RPG action elements you can see there from the combat and stuff. It's got real promise and really colourful, amazing looking characters. So I mean, I'm absolutely pumped if they can show something more of this. And I've also,
I reckon with this one they were just waiting until the consoles could handle it, and then we're going to get some news now that they're finally there. They realised the Xbox One wasn't going to cope.
That was one of the things I was going to mention. You know, you've had other games. I forget the game it was now. It's completely skipped my mind. That was it. Watch Dogs. So do you remember when Watch Dogs was first announced at E3 many years ago, and we had that vertical slice, and you know there was I think it's Aidan Pearce's name walking down the street, and the wind was going, and the cans were blowing across the street, and everyone was like, "Wow, that is incredible! That's amazing!" And it couldn't run. It couldn't run like that on the old gen. It didn't actually run like that on the new gen, but it was like we were looking at stuff that was running next gen capable, and that is totally what this looks like. You know,
the scope of that shot right there, that's
exactly
mind blowing.
That is something that's needing SSD power to be able to stream all those assets in, and the amount of detail you can see, like those pictures there, they're actually user generated content that's been pumped into the game. So they have like a kind of a portal that people can upload artwork, music, poetry, all this kind of stuff, and they put it into the world, providing it fits the environment. They stick it in there. So it's
So what you're saying is a crowdsourced game.
Well, part of it, yeah. And I mean, but if that helps them make it as massive as it looks like it can be, I think it's a really clever way of doing it. And for people to get credited for their artwork, and if somebody's an amateur artist and they want to put a piece of artwork up, and actually millions of people might see that artwork, I think great. You know?
There's nothing wrong with including the community in making your game. It's how Bethesda have made games for years.
Nothing. I'm just saying, it's just a great way of doing it. It's just crowdsourcing your game. Why not? You've got this rabid fan base that so many fans want to contribute and do things. And it's so nice to see that more recently with social media, so many great artists and that getting their shot because they just wear their heart on their sleeve, do great art or great work for these things, and then get picked up by these sort of things. You know, I don't know if you guys follow Pope Art on any of these socials. If you know him, there's all these like he did all these like mock-ups of the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5s, all with different skins and stuff, and basically he got hired full-time by a custom PC maker because his stuff was so slick and so on point. You know, it was like, so he's now designing custom one-off PCs with this thing. It's like,
it does look amazing. It looks amazing.
Awesome. It really does, absolutely fantastic.
I mean, it's crazy, this game.
I mean, I think every E3 since we first saw a bit of gameplay, when it's been Ubisoft, and right at the end, and we're going, and just one more thing, come on, I don't want Riders Republic, come on, I want Beyond Good and Evil. So maybe this year, hopefully, and I think it's got to be around time. It must be, and like you say, with the next gen of consoles and the kind of power we're pushing out now, surely it's time. So
I also think if they don't show it soon, it's going to start looking like vaporware.
They actually did comment on this like in last year's E3 or whatever we had that was kind of replaced it. They did actually make an announcement. They kind of made a comment that they were promising to show the game next year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it's that's kind of saying when are they going to show it? Well, if they are going to show it next year, and they said that last year, it's got to be E3 this year, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, you would hope so. I'll be very disappointed if not. Next one I've got is let's be honest, it's a completely dead cert. If you've seen the artwork for Microsoft's presentation, Halo, come on. There's no way.
What's this game, Craig? What is this game, Halo?
Halo Infinite. It's by a small indie developer called Microsoft or Xbox Game Studios.
Okay.
And 343 Industries. Yeah.
Is it a game about angels?
It is exactly that. Yeah. Looking forward to it. No, there's absolutely no way in hell we're not going to see Halo Infinite at this is E3.
I thought that was actually confirmed.
Yes, it is.
I was on. Oh yeah, okay. I was just saying.
Well,
this was predictions, not confirmations.
It might. Yeah. So what I was talking about. So there's no way in hell we're not going to see it. But it was more about where are we going to see? Is this going to be a show opener, or is this going to be a show closer?
Ooh.
Do you know what I mean? Where are we going to see it? That's kind of. So I think they're going to come out on the stage at Microsoft. Bang! Halo Infinite is going to be the first thing that comes up.
It's got to be the opener because when they announced it, wasn't it the show closer? And everybody kind of went, "Yeah."
No, it wasn't show. No, was it show closer?
No, Cyberpunk was the show closer that year.
Yeah.
The first Cyberpunk reveal of the city, wasn't it?
It's got to be. Boom! We've sorted it, guys. Check this out. This looks.
Wasn't the Halo 3 one the I am your shield, I am your sword one? Wasn't that the show closer that year with they did it with the trailer for that, and that was like it couldn't have gone any better that year. Wasn't it? I'm sure it was.
Can't remember now.
Sure it was. Yeah, the trailer I mean, where it pans in across the I'm sure that was the show closer, because they hadn't said anything about Halo and everyone was expecting it, and right at the end they just fade the lights and that sort of thing started playing, and then you got the ding, that one piano note, and everyone was like, "Yep, that's Halo."
Yeah.
As soon as that one note played, everyone was like, "Yep, Halo." It's so good.
Yeah, iconic sound. So I think it'll be the opener, but that was just kind of a little sort of added bit in from me, really, because I can't talk about it if you're not talk about Halo, can I? And
still being totally pedantic. We said predictions, not confirmed.
Sorry, I'm really sorry. So the other one, now this one is, it's not confirmed, but oh my word, if they don't have it there, what's going to happen is Starfield. It's been in a number of years development now. There's been so many leaks and things coming out about it, and there's a lot of speculation that, again, when you look at the Microsoft Bethesda showcase and you see the way they've done the image, so you've got the Spartans at the top, and as it comes around to the bottom of a planet, and the kind of the line that comes around it looks very reminiscent of that kind of, the sort of images that you were getting from the Starfield trailer. What do we think? I mean, it's like, if it isn't there, it'd be a huge shame. I think they'll come out.
Has anybody checked Tom Cruise's calendar?
Yeah, busy. But yeah, I mean, I think they're going to come out and they're going to say this will be the time when they come out and go bang. It's going to come out at whatever time. I don't think it's going to be out this year. Probably next year. But it's going to come out and it's going to be an Xbox exclusive. And it's going to be on Game Pass day one. And that'll be a big power punch.
So you say about Halo launching the show. Imagine if they walk on stage, the trailer for this plays, they hit the big old bang and then go, oh yeah, and here's Tom Cruise and here's the Xbox exclusive. And you'd just be like, the whole presentation would be like, if this is the standard, if they can set that standard starting with it, holy crap. I mean, if they end with it, that would also be
something. If they're going to announce it in this E3 and not release it until next year, Bethesda are breaking a precedent. Because in general, when they announce their games, we're talking 3 to 4 months away. Yeah. And I don't know. Obviously, there's the influence of Microsoft in there. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Hasn't it?
Yeah. What? The release date?
Oh, I give you the release date. Sorry, yeah.
I think the only one they've done the quick release was Fallout 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, where it was like 2 months down the line or something, wasn't it?
That was really close. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
close.
yeah,
But
yeah.
generally,
That's
it's
crazy.
3 or 4 months away, isn't it?
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah, they've been
But-
pretty.
but as I
76
say,
was like that. 76 was
But,
like that.
but again, Microsoft are an influence here, and they're also the ones kind of pulling the purse strings. So if they say, look, we want you in the E3, we want you to produce a video for it, we want you to make a statement and show the release date, but we're not going to release it for another 8-10 months because we want to make sure it's right. Then because obviously it isn't just about what Bethesda wants now. So obviously some things may have changed.
Yeah,
I've
maybe we
really-
won't get a release date then. Maybe we'll just get like the whole reveal and what it is and some gameplay and confirmation of exclusivity, that kind of thing. So
I've really only got one comment to say towards this, and it follows on from a comment I made a little while ago. Space
rude?
Top Gun!
Phil,
don't need Space Top Gun.
get out.
He's on mute.
You'd be
He's in the
disappointed
naughty
if it was,
corner.
though.
Yes, I would
It'd
be
be
disappointed with Space
amazing.
Top Gun.
It
I would
be
genuinely be
amazing.
disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I'd probably have fun with Space Top Gun.
Yeah,
Then I'd be
yeah.
like, this could have been
If
so
you
much
wanna
more
play
than Space
Space
Top
I
Gun.
mean, it wouldn't just be Space Top
I-
Gun. It would just be Space Top Gun in an amazing, huge scope of a Bethesda game.
If you want to play Space Top Gun, go and play Everspace. Okay,
Yeah.
that's Space Top Gun. It's a fantastic
Tom
game.
Cruise.
It's a huge amount of fun. You can pretend you're Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise comes with Top Gun.
Just start calling the cat Goose and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Goose! Goose! Somebody killed Goose.
So,
Don't tell Baz.
Throw Goose out the window when you have an emergency. That's the last thing to do.
right, let's move round now
Goose.
to Maverick himself, Mr. Speed Freak Phil, and let's hear what your predictions are, my friend.
My predictions. I'm going to start with an almost guarantee, but God, I really hope it's there as well. Fable. I want to see Fable. God, I love Fable 1, 2, and 3. Not so much that funny Kinect one where you did it with your hands. Let's
Yeah,
just
the
forget about
Journey.
that. The Journey, yeah, let's not talk about that one. That was a
The one
journey
that killed the
indeed.
franchise, you mean? Yeah, let's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fable Heroes.
Yeah, well,
Didn't
yeah,
even
that
launch,
didn't even
mate.
make it out the gates, did it? The
Yeah,
Journey.
Fable Heroes did. Fable Heroes was the Xbox Live Arcade one, the little 2D one.
I'm thinking of. Was it
Whatever.
Legends?
Legends, yeah,
Legends.
Fable Legends
Yeah,
never made it out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been done by Playground Games. I mean, if ever there was a choice of studio, they've got the humour for it, and it needs to be an English studio.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think that's allegedly going to be in their engine that they use for Forza Horizon, supposedly.
That was the
Apparently,
rumor.
yeah.
We covered that. Yeah.
Which it's super pretty. I'm very in. I want to see how that kind of gels with the Fable style cartoony looks. I mean, I can't see that they're going to change the design of it. They're going to have to follow on. Oh, I'm very excited to see how that's going to look,
Yeah.
and even more excited to see how it plays. And I'm just imagining how amazing the magic effects are going to be. How good their lighting
They need
is.
to
for
get John
Horizon.
Cleese back. They need to get John Cleese back in there.
Yes.
Yeah, some of the great voice acting needs to happen.
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
Yeah, but if they
Top
do-
British actors.
I want a character called Manuel in there somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Manuel!
I don't think that's going to happen, mate. It's a bit. But yeah.
Might be a bit tongue in cheek, but
Definitely.
Fable can pull it off if anyone can do it.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But do you not think it's a little early for Fable?
Well, they showed us a little teaser trailer last year, so I think if they're showing a teaser, I think they show us a little bit more. It's still a teaser, but
wasn't it like 6 months ago they were trying to adapt the engine to they were trying to employ someone to adapt the engine to run Fable. So I mean, I don't get wrong. I'm with you, Phil. I'd like to see some Fable,
Oh, yeah.
but
I wanna see it.
I think I can agree with Craig. I think it might be a little bit early, but
Yeah, come on,
do we
Phil.
know?
It's predictions, not fairy tales. Boom!
well played, well played. Moving on for my next kind of prediction that's almost certainty realistically, they're going to show Forza Motorsport. My
Yeah.
prediction, though, is that obviously there's a lot of rumours around Horizon 5 and it potentially being in Mexico. So I'm very interested to see whether we just get another Forza Motorsport kind of demo and the in-game engine it looking super pretty, or whether we maybe get an announcement about Horizon 5 and that coming out and the new location for that, because that would be very pretty. And let's be honest, I mean, Horizon is the one now. It's really almost taken the mantle from Motorsport, hasn't it? Of the Xbox kind of premium racing game.
I don't know how much more prettier they can make these games, though. I mean, are we actually aiming towards realism? It's like when we saw the
Well,
video
Forza
for
is,
Forza Horizon 4, and it was the English countryside. We were like, "Oh my god, that is astonishing!" It's like, how isn't there a point at where you go, yeah, it's amazing, and it looks exactly the same as last year because last year was amazing as well. And it's kind of, don't get me wrong, these games are amazing, but it's just like there's got to be a plateau, surely.
Go on, Chris.
Go on, Phil. No, go on, Phil. I
was going to say, it's just going to be how amazingly massive and exciting and dense the world is going to be, and how many cars there are.
Rather than being prettier, it's going to be how much more believable is the world.
How much more game we get.
How much more bits of dirt get pushed up, and it looks like real dirt. And how the people in the crowd, do they look like moron puppets, or do they actually look like humans? Exactly. It's every person just replaced. Every third person is exactly the same. It's stuff like
with a different coloured shirt.
More quality of life to more believability to the world. But
you mean they're not individual?
More impressive?
Yeah.
You mean the
crowd aren't going to be individual snowflakes like Dead Rising 3?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, the thing I think what you were saying about like the realism side, and I think when it comes to motorsport, like the whole concept of that franchise, go away from Horizon, Forza Motorsport, it's about how realistic can we make it. So they will keep going and pushing that envelope to the absolute max. So the physics, whether it be the car simulation or the physics simulation or the light simulation, will be pushed to the absolute mega.
So realistic already.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Mental. It's mental.
That makes me think, actually, something they added from 5 to 6, they added in all the rain effects, didn't they? And the puddles welling up on the tracks and stuff. And they had to laser scan the tracks in the dry and in the wet to figure out where the puddles would create. So I wonder whether maybe with motorsport, they're just going to go even more anal, for lack of a better phrase, on how detailed the track is and how those cars handle. And even more amazing G sensors and data recorded as to how every car feels perfect.
I would imagine it'll probably come down to, because the machines are more capable of doing more simulations because of the more powerful processors. Yeah. Surely what we're going to get there is we're just going to get a better simulation. It'll be able to, the tracks will handle and feel better because the machine can think about more things at once. So more physics computation going on, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see.
Well, this baby's for right here.
The end result is it makes absolutely no difference to my driving skill. My brain can still only do the same number of computations, and I'm still as rubbish.
Oh yeah, mate. There's a reason I don't play Forza Motorsport. It's because I can't, because I'm rubbish. Like I quite love Horizon because I just go steaming off the road.
Goes round corners is what I am.
Yeah, I just go steaming into the countryside on Horizon, just going la la la. I'm going to drive through this wall. Hey, it doesn't matter because I somehow score points for that. La 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 la. Skidding around the field. I don't really care if I'm winning the race. I'm having fun in my Bugatti in a field. La 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 la. That's all I care about. That's why motorsport is a hardcore game at the end of the day. And I think that might be where, like when you say it's taken over the mantle, Phil, I think it's probably because Horizon's just so much more accessible as a game.
Yeah,
it's a more fun game, dare I say it.
Yeah. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I love Horizon. It's a different experience to motorsport. You're right. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I've always sort of said with Horizon, I'd love to see a merging of the two, so that actually you could almost have like regions. And I mean, this is a massive undertaking, but so let's say you've got a bunch of tracks around Europe. And they create an open world within ththose tracks. It's kind of how they did with the Crew. So actually you drive, right, there's a race going on at Laguna Seca, for example. Right, let's go. You head off from one track and you're driving through the traffic to get to the next place, and then you pull in there. Do you know what I mean? Just take it to that next. I think that would be really cool.
That'd be amazing.
They're not going to do that though, because that means you'd only have to buy the one game instead of having to buy two. So.
No, you pull up at the gate and they go, "Have you got Forza Motorsport?" Yeah. Bye bye.
No,
microtransaction.
Forza Horizon 17 is £40, £50.
Don't you give them ideas?
But if you have the Forza Motorsport add-on, it's another £50 on top of that.
Yeah.
Can we cut that entire Forza section of the podcast? I don't want anyone at Microsoft hearing that. Okay, that was great. Yeah, and I've got one more kind of prediction that I'm going to go, which is obviously there was some news around Kojima and this little statue in the background of Phil Spencer's video. So my prediction is Kojima's game first on Xbox. I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be Phil crazy. It's going to be out there. It's going to be space squirrels or goo monsters.
Space squirrels Top Gun.
Sure, why not? It's Kojima. He'll make it work, and there'll be some massive convoluted storyline that's like a movie.
And you're a space squirrel where you can play with your nuts.
Yeah.
No, you've got to get your nuts back, mate. Somebody's nicked them.
Can
yeah,
I just
so-
go back a notch there, Phil? And just so you think people from Microsoft watch this podcast?
Maybe, who knows? I'm just saying
checking.
we don't want to give anyone the idea in case it works its way up the beanhole, so
the
to speak.
aspiration, but I think you're perhaps expectation.
Yeah,
might
but
be
what if
high,
a friend of a friend of a friend talks to somebody who works in Microsoft and then he tells it to his boss and they're like, that's a brilliant idea, and that guy gets promoted all off the back of our podcast?
Again, you're assuming 3 people will listen to this. A friend of
Yeah.
a friend of a friend.
Just ramblings of 4 idiots is what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, nice one, Phil. No, that sounds awesome. So who knows? I think it's a bit of a well, I don't know. Who knows with that Kojima thing, because we just literally know nothing about it. And I think he's had such a close relationship with PlayStation, hasn't he? So it's but who knows? It could be. Yeah, they've been digging deep in the pockets, haven't they? So
They have indeed.
right. So we're going to move on to the next phase of this, which is going to be your wild cards, gentlemen. So I want to know something. It doesn't have to be like anything. It doesn't have to be set in realism whatsoever. It can be anything that your heart's desires, what you would just wish and hope that you will see come out at E3, no matter how unlikely it's going to be. And I'm going to mix it up because I'm going to go first this time, because why not?
Why not?
And
And so that Alan can't steal it by not telling you.
yeah.
Sorry, Al.
My one is something that I think most people in here will agree with, and we get disappointed about every single year, and that is a new Splinter Cell. Oh my word, Ubisoft! They still value the IP of Splinter Cell, clearly, because he turned up in Ghost Recon Wildlands, he turned up in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, he turned up in Rainbow Six or whatever, Rainbow Six, whatever the new one is, Siege, that's it. He turned up in the mobile game. He's everywhere, apart from in his own game. It's Sam Fisher, man. Do you know what I mean? And I know with Blacklist, which is a really good game. I gave it a hard time when it first came out because it didn't have Michael Ironside, but later on down the line we realised that it's because he was unwell, and actually, it was a private time for him. He couldn't do it, and so they got someone else in, and they just didn't mention why. So I totally get that, but I mean, he's been back and he's voiced him again for later games, so he's clearly up for another Splinter Cell game.
The legend that is Michael Ironside.
Yeah, what a voice, what a voice that dude's got. It's so recognisable as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's the only good thing about Highlander 2. The only good thing.
Do you know what? I purged that film from my memory so hard because it is that bad that I even forgot that he's in that film. Like, that film is so bad. Like,
He's still good. He's still good.
he's
in
great.
it.
Yeah, he's never bad. He's never bad.
Yeah.
But that film is terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think, boys? Another Splinter Cell?
Yeah.
We can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking,
No.
which was it, Blacklist? Which one was
I
it?
don't think we're gonna
Blacklist, the
see
one with
it,
the
but-
2-player multiplayer? That we had so much. Was it Black something?
There was
That
Blacklist. There was also Conviction as well.
Yeah, but Blacklist, that was the one we played on the multiplayer where you had the spy and you had the soldier, and you basically had to infiltrate the levels.
was
I think I played with
Conviction.
Jules.
That was Conviction. Yeah, that was
Conviction.
Conviction, yeah. Had
And
its own
but
separate...
anyway, I forget which one it was, but it was fantastic multiplayer. It was some of the best fun I've had, where you're just one person trying to sneak in and the other guy being the soldier clumping about. It was so well designed and toned and just so much fun that you just play it over and over and over again. The main game definitely, but if they put in some of that multiplayer as well, I am sold.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I think it's a game which I could see them even expanding into a bit of action elements. Like I was saying with Perfect Dark, you could do what I was talking about with Perfect Dark with Splinter Cell beautifully. So you've got these like hardcore stealth moments with the fun action. I know they've done that in the past, but you don't want to completely abandon what Splinter Cell is. And just more Splinter Cell. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, there's obviously, like you say, a huge market for it as well.
Yeah. Another big thing for me is, ray tracing is such a big buzzword right now, and it's such a big thing. Everyone's like, is ray tracing? Can we turn ray tracing on? How much is ray tracing going to affect the performance? But what a perfect game to show off ray traced light. A game where the whole thing is about hiding in shadows and, darting through the light and stuff like that. And a game that isn't necessarily a huge, massive open world. It's something that's condensed sandboxes that actually I think potentially would be able to manage it a lot better. I think it's just, it ticks so many boxes, and I just want Ubisoft to go, and one more thing. Up come the little lights, and I'll be a happy man. Cool. Right, so we're going to go down to Mr. Ratley Ratster. So for you, my friend, what is your
Well, there is actually one I
wildcard?
said in the group, but when you said something, I was like, God, you know what I'd love to see is that. That's a next gen Dizzy game, because I talked about it years ago, but that's besides the point. That's not the one I want to talk about. The next gen Dizzy would be amazing. Fully ray traced egg. Yeah, let's get on it. So I think really what I said earlier. I mean, there's been talk about it in the community of this game for ages. I think there's a big case for it to be, as much as it's a wild card, I can actually kind of see Microsoft maybe pulling this one out of the bag. It was a tentpole of the 360 success. The original trilogy needs a little bit of love here and there, and I think it would be great to see it all kind of brought together and repackaged a la Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and that is the original Gears of War trilogy. And we see this much sought after Phoenix Edition, where we get Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 in a full next-gen revamp, with maybe we get the ray tracing, maybe we get all this, maybe they bring it into Unreal 5 or Unreal 4 or whatever it is, and we get this thing, where we get, maybe they just put everything onto the Gears 5 engine, do you know what I mean? And just retell the stories with everything in it. Or they just do what they did with Gears, Ultimate Edition, when they released that back on the Xbox One. They just go, here it all is in 4K, exactly as you remember it, but with much shinier graphics, because... I went back and played through Gears Ultimate not that long ago, actually, with a friend of mine, Kev, and we had a lot of fun with it. It's a little janky at points. I remember saying on the podcast, there's a few of it. It shows its age in places, but it was still a hell of a lot of fun. But it amazes me that game, the Ultimate Edition in particular, has never had a full Xbox Series makeover, no 4K. They didn't have an Xbox One X patch, to be fair, so no 4K, no HDR. So all of that, if you fire up Gears of War Ultimate Edition, that's all in auto HDR, which is great. But it's all in auto HDR. It's not in a proper HDR presentation. So I'd love to see them drop a Phoenix Collection, first 3 games fully collected with all the DLCs. The whole 9 yards.
Not Judgment as well.
I mean, I'd take Judgment as well. Judgment's not. Judgment gets a really sort of real panic, but
he peaked tonight, Phil, isn't he? Is he been on the sauce again?
Yeah, but I mean, Judgment had I thought Judgment's campaign was fun, but it just couldn't hang with the original, the emotional investment you have in 1, 2, and 3. I think Gears 1. I think people often undersell the emotional sell in Gears 1, about how that world did everything it needed to do on a very minimal level to convince you these characters were someone to worry about and give 2 hoots about. And then in Gears 2, that just massively expanded. And then obviously with Gears 3, there was some. I mean, there's a heavy gut punch moment or 2 in Gears 2. Don't get me wrong. There's a point about 2/3 of the way through, which I won't go spoilers, which I remember sitting there and just being jaw on the floor, as it happens. And if you play Gears 2 and you remember which bit I mean, you'll know what I mean. And it's just oh, who's cutting onions? Because I'm not. No reason at all, and then Gears 3, it's even worse. At the point where you're just okay, who's literally shredding all the onions in the planet right now? I can't deal. So I'd love to get again. I don't need an excuse to replay the Gears trilogy, not at all. But I'd love to be able to go back in and see it in that fresh coat of paint, all reinvested. Maybe they could do some tweaks here and there to some of the gameplay stuff. I don't know, but I just love to see that thing. Because Gears was always pretty, and I think if you up that pretty with the modern engine, they could be some really stunning looking games. And that fun, enjoyable story. So Phoenix Collection is what I hope we get to see, but I don't know. They've gone very quiet on it after the initial "Would you like to see it?" thing, and I'd love it to be real. I'm just not sure that they're. I'm not saying they're not invested in Gears, but I know they're not as invested in Gears as they are in Halo, and and there's all the Bethesda stuff that they really want to take away from that. But I mean, would it take away? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it's a good shout though. Definitely, I like a Master Chief Collection type thing. I
mean, put all the Gears in one place would be great. The Gears collection. But who knows?
And
right?
all of the I think because you could quite easily put Gears 4, and to be fair, if it's going on Game Pass, you put Gears 5 in there as well, because it's sitting there as its own game anyway, isn't it? In there, I think, and all the multiplayer maps together and doing all those big sessions, I think they could, that would be pretty good.
I mean, I'd love to see Gears 2 Horde on Xbox Live. Gears 2 Horde, like all the original maps, all the original way it plays. I'd love to go back and play Gears 2 Horde. It was always my favourite Horde. Not saying that Gears 3 wasn't good with all the fortification stuff, but there was something about the rawness of Gears 2 where the only thing you had to survive was whatever you could salvage. Like, I will never forget the feeling on we did it on Insanity once. All 50 waves, and we had the boom shields which you'd pick up and put down between waves to like set up a little fort where the monster could get in. And we was like, what? And I never forget. We got to wave 50. We were like, whatever happens, we can't die, because if we die here, we reset the wave, sure, but we lose all of our heavy weapons, all of our fortifications, and then we have to do it with, like,
ends.
Yeah, we do it with lancers, and that'll become near impossible. And somehow we died, and somehow we pulled it off. And that feeling of beating wave 50, like maxed out with just the spawn weapons. Oh mate, that was such a like moment with me and my mates at the time. Like really late one night, I've been playing all night. So yeah, I'd love to just relive that. You know, get that back. Give me Gears 2 Horde mode on Xbox Live. Yes, please.
Nice.
You know?
Good call, man. Good call. Right, wild card now. Moving around the room to Mr. Phil. We're doing a bit of a ziggy zag today. So, Mr. Phil, what is your wild card?
So my wild card, I've sort of divided it into two, but it's one theme. Which my theme is that Daddy Phil opens up his wallet once again and buys something.
Okay.
Because he loves to do that every year. So what I want is him to have bought Square Enix, and then every Final Fantasy game comes to Xbox first instead, and he's just...
Yeah. Do we think though? Is he going to walk out on stage and suddenly we're going to get the entrance music from WWE? Here comes the money,
and he's got a money gun shooting into the crowd.
Money.
Yeah.
Money. It's like,
and it's American dollars with Phil's face on it instead. So yeah, I mean I want that, but I tell you what I actually really like him to do is I'd like Microsoft to buy the Metal Gear Solid franchise, because Konami don't seem to be doing anything with it, and I really, really want either them all remastered or just the first game but remade, like a Resident Evil 2 remake of it, like bang up to date, looking uber pretty, and then they go, yeah, so they weren't doing it over at Konami, so we've just bought it and it's coming to Xbox. I'd love that.
It's not because this statue, isn't that Kojima statue, has got you into like all this stuff which they could
all
just
the
buy.
Stuff I want, but I'll probably never get. Yeah. That's so it.
I love it, Phil. I love it.
But yeah, that's it. Please, Metal Gear Solid, come on, Phil, open the wallet. Just take it from Konami. Yeah. They don't deserve it anymore. Look what they did with... I can't even say the name of the last one they released. Ugh.
Yeah, Metal Gear Survive, that was not good. Well, I think I did hear a rumour somewhere, and it was only a rumour, that they were remaking the first one for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 probably. I did hear that, but again, just a rumor. So, but you know, hopefully, there's no kind of like sort of deal tied in somewhere where you know the first one is an exclusive to PlayStation, because I don't think it's ever been on another console, has it?
No. Yeah, I don't even think you can get it on PC. It was just purely PlayStation 1. I think
it was, yeah. Because I mean, Metal Gear 2 was on several, wasn't it?
Yeah, because you can buy the HD collection for Xbox 360, and they're downloadable now as well. Yeah. In fact, they were on Game Pass for a while, the HD collection for 2, 3, and whatever that other one was. It was like a Switch game or something. It had like a base management thing in it.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember what it was. It's a bit like what 5 did. It was almost like the base stuff they did with 5. They took from that other game, and I can't remember what it was called. But you had to build up your base and get your things, and it had like little levels that you. Oh, I can't remember what it is. I'm going to have to look.
You'll have to have a think. We'll have to have a think while we move on to the infamous and new Thunderlips McQueen. Mr. McQueen.
These lips are thunderous. Anyway, so I kind of I didn't really have an awful lot of thought out for this, and I was going to talk about Diablo 4, but the reality is that people have been talking more in this section about what their dream to be announced would be, rather than what has actually already been announced, and they just want to see a release date for. And I was sitting here, and I'm kind of glad you picked me last, because I'm trying to been sitting here thinking to myself, what would I really, really like to see? What would make me jump out of my seat and fist pump the air like a complete idiot in the middle of your front room while we're watching it, and your two boys and your wife look at me and think, idiot, right? And that would be if they actually, bearing in mind that Xbox have bought Bethesda, yeah? So, what I would like to see is a remake of Morrowind and Oblivion. That would be a dream come true.
Oh.
It's never going to happen.
Doesn't matter. It's a wild card, mate.
But there are already independent developers, the community, who are creating these things already. And now that I have a PC, I can actually access them.
Yeah.
I believe they're in beta or something, and one's called Skywind. I'm not sure what the Oblivion one's called, but they are basically remaking every single asset in the game and remaking the game from the ground up. They're even got quality of life tweaking the adventures. As to when it's coming out, it's been going on for years, so I have no idea when it might happen. But just imagine if Microsoft actually, they say to like Bethesda, do you know what, guys? I think it's time. It's time. Let's get a team on it. Let's get those games, and even if we don't remake them, let's remaster them. Let's put new textures in. Let's revamp them all. Because let's face it, there's still the one thing that makes Bethesda Elder Scrolls games so good is the content. Yeah, there are still a few bugs in there. Yeah, but most of the bugs are usually graphical. But there are still some story bugs, so they sort them out. They polish them up. They give them all new graphics. That would still be a major. I mean, I've tried to play Morrowind a couple of times, and I've bought it on the Xbox, and the graphics have not aged well at all. I mean, the game is still solid, but the world itself is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Yeah. And it would be lovely to see that brought up to like modern graphics.
Lots of brown textures.
Yeah, there's a lot of brown. That would just be a dream come true. And they're in the right position to do that. What with them now having the backing of Microsoft, let's get a team together, Todd. Let's get a team together and let's get it doing.
Yeah, they've always used the creation engine as well, haven't they? It's the same engine, but just more modern versions of it. So you'd like to think potentially.
But Bethesda haven't had a different engine for that all this time, you say?
No, it's been pretty much the same thing, mate. Yeah.
No, never. Oh
God, no. We all know my feelings on the Bethesda engine.
I was trying to poke Phil into action here, is what I was trying to do.
For God's sake, Todd,
Starfield, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh God, Todd, stop polishing the turd and get a new game engine. For God's sake, you're owned by Microsoft now. You can afford a new game engine.
No. He gets that turd and rolls it in diamonds now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happens with it. It's like getting a pair of shoes when you're like, I don't know, 10 or something like that, and you just keep stitching bits onto the end of it so they keep fitting your feet. You re-heel it. Yeah, now he's just diamond encrusted. It's like a pair of.
But that is a good point.
I don't know a brand of expensive shoes, but it's like a brand of expensive.
Because the engine hasn't fundamentally changed. So that means that the core of it is the same. It's just going back in and changing the textures up, putting new assets in. So essentially, it's not like they've got to go in and rebuild the game.
We presume. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, then it's I'm no developer. But the fact of the matter is they're in a perfect position to do it now, and quite frankly, they're still such solid games. I would go back and play Morrowind and Oblivion in a heartbeat. And I think I bought Skyrim about 4 times, including the Kindle, the Alexa edition, it's really difficult to eat lots of cheese. Anyway, but yeah,
quality.
That would be my dream.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that, guys.
One thing one of us mentioned, which I'm quite sad about, actually, thinking about it.
Go on, then.
Thought about when you talked about Bethesda. Not one of us mentioned the Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
yeah.
Because I don't care.
I do care. I do.
So you
care.
don't care? Just do one. Get out, Phil. Just get out.
Also, just reference the Metal Gear Solid game I was talking about was called Peace Walker.
Don't care about that, mate. We care about Indiana Jones.
Yeah, my life is so much more fulfilled now. You've told. What was that game called again? I forgot because I didn't care.
It was simply for continuity. It wasn't just for you, Alan.
Whose continuity though? Because none of us care.
Anyway, let's move on before we have a virtual punch up about Indiana Jones and Peace Walker. Right.
Why is it always got to be snakes, Wedgie?
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. So, we're moving on to my super secret little quiz. It's nothing special, but it's topical, okay? There's no need for any buzzers. It's all going to be multiple choice, so there's going to be 4 options to each question, and I'm just going to go around the room, and you guys can just pop down what you think is the right answer, and then we'll get a score at the end. All right, you ready for it?
Hell yeah. Do it.
Okie dokie. Right, so question number 1. When prepping to demo Wii Fit, what did Reggie Fils-Aimé famously say his body was? This is at E3. Was it Reggie? Was it reggae? Was it ready? Or was it not ready? So I'm going to go to Phil first.
I don't have the faintest clue. If I'm perfectly honest with you, I don't.
Was it his body was either Reggie, reggae, ready, or not ready?
I'm going to go with Reggie, which was A.
Reggie, okay, yeah, Reggie for Phil, yeah. And round 2, Alan.
I'm going to go with reggae.
Reggae for Alan. And then round to Chris.
I was going to join Alan on the reggae tip.
Reggae, okay. Well, I can tell you, none of you got that one right, because it was His Body Was Ready. So, bit of an obvious one there, but yeah.
Well, you said a bit of an obvious one that we all got wrong.
Yeah,
So obvious.
I mean, how obvious?
Oh, man. Yeah, so anyway. Right, for the next one, I'm going to bring up a little picture for everybody. So,
this is going to break
clues.
everything, isn't it?
it's not going to break everything, no. So, these 4 excited boys have become part of meme culture, but what Nintendo game were they so excited about? That is my question. So, was it either Super Mario Galaxy, Kirby's Air Ride, Metroid Prime, or The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess? So we're going to go to Alan first.
It's got to be Twilight Princess.
So Twilight Princess for Alan. And for Mr. Chris, what do you reckon?
What was the third one?
The third one was Metroid Prime.
I'm going to say Metroid Prime, although I think it's Twilight Princess, if I'm honest.
Okay. Right, okay. And for Mr. Phil.
Again, don't have the faintest clue, but in the spirit of keeping things interesting, I'm going to say it was Super Mario Galaxy.
Super Mario Galaxy. Right, so I can tell you that one of you were right on that one. And the person who was right
Alan. Hello, for sure.
was Alan with the Twilight Princess.
Because
Yes.
that's exactly the same reaction I had.
Yeah.
I thought it was that, but I thought I'd go for something different.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been Metroid Prime. That was pretty exciting, wasn't it? So, okay, number 3. So, in 1995, at the very first E3, Sega America's CEO drops a bombshell about the upcoming Sega Saturn. But what was it? Was it A, that it was out now? Was it that it would launch with 3 games? That it would have a built-in modem, or that Sony had come on board as a partner? So first is Chris first.
Out now.
Out now, would launch with 3
games.
games, would have a built-in modem, or Sony had come on board as partners. He's stroking his beard for audio listeners.
I think it was the first one.
The first one. So you think it was that it was out now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And round to Phil next.
So what was it again? Sorry, just go through your options.
It was out now. Would launch with 3 games. Would have a built-in modem, or Sony had come on board as partners.
You know what? This went horribly wrong last time because I picked something different. So I'm going to say it's out now.
It's out now. Okay. And from Alan, what do we think?
Sorry, Craig. What was it again?
I'm not going to say. You haven't heard after the 17th time.
It was the 4th one. It was that Sony are coming on board as partners.
Okie dokie. So I can tell you that one of you was wrong, and that was Alan. It was, in fact, that it was out now. So that puts you on level pegging.
Sony partner
Following
with
the
somebody else.
sheet works. I mean,
So, right, number 4. We know it eventually came out in 2011, but which E3 played host to the very first footage of Duke Nukem Forever? Was it 2002, 2004, 2006, or 1998? So I'm going to go, that will be Phil first. Which do we think? 2002, 2004, 2006, or 1998? Don't know why I did them that way around.
2002.
2002 for Phil. Round to Alan. What do we think?
I've come to kick your ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all out of gum. 1998.
1998 from Alan. Very confidently as well there. And from Mr. Ratley, what do we think?
I'm with Alan, 1998.
Okay. And you boys are correct. It was 1998.
I was playing it, and literally 3 months later, Quake came out.
Yeah.
And Duke Nukem was like, it was the best thing ever for all of about 3 months.
Yeah.
And then Quake came out, and it was like, Duke Nukem, what a load of
Duke
rubbish.
Nukem 3D,
Quake,
yeah.
Yeah, now we've got a proper 3D game. We're playing Quake.
Quality stuff. Cool. Right. Question number 5. Sony had a disastrous year in 2006 as it unveiled the brand new PS3. But what was its infamous price? Was it $399? Was it $499? Was it $5.99 or was it $6.99? And that's in dollars. So that's going round to Alan is first. So $3.99, $4.99,
$7.99. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry,
3, 4, 5, or $6.99.
I'm going to go with $5.99.
$5.99 from Alan. So round to Mr. Ratley. What do we think?
$6.99.
$6.99 from Ratley, and from Mr. Phil.
I think it was also $6.99.
Okay, and it was in fact $5.99. So well done, Alan.
Well
yes.
done,
Filthy money grabbing scumbags.
I get it. That throws you off because everyone thinks £600 because it was the big thing. It was 600 quid.
I remember because I think I was actually at college at the time and we were going around going, who's going to pay 600 quid for a console?
Yeah.
I mean, I
yeah.
can't remember what I did last week, but there's some remnant in the back of my memory.
I love the fact that
conversation.
that was the infamous E3 where they're like, well, you can just get a second job to pay for your console.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, that's it. Right, number 6. What revolutionary idea did Sony take a jab at Microsoft with in a video form in 2013? The new PlayStation Move camera, game sharing, Wonderbook, or the PS4 touchpad? And that is Chris first.
it was game sharing.
Game sharing. Rally again, a confident one. Phil.
Don't remember. I'm going to follow Ratley and go with game sharing.
Okay.
Because
game
he's sounded
sharing.
really confident when he said it, and he's looking smug.
And Alan, what do we think? Are you going to follow the masses?
It was definitely game sharing. I remember it clearly.
You were right to be confident. It definitely was game sharing because you had forget the guy's name now. The head of
Bigger
Sony.
stickers.
No, yeah, that's it. Well, 2 execs anyway, handing over a game, going, "This is how you game share on PS4," and it was like that. Oh, ow!
It was, I remember that distinctly because as much as like it really cut me to my soul because Microsoft really dropped the ball on that. That was so beautifully done. Like, it was just like chef's kiss, boys. Well done. Well handled.
Kiss,
well handled. It's so good.
Cool. Right, next question. Okay. Which of these franchises closed out the Xbox show in 2005, making its series debut on Xbox 360? Was it Final Fantasy? Was it Crash Bandicoot? Was it Tales of? Or was it Spyro the Dragon? And we're round to Phil first. What do we think, mate?
Man, I'm really struggling. I don't remember most of this stuff. What closed it?
Gotta stop with that sauce, mate. It's killing those memory cells. It really is.
Evidently, yeah. I genuinely can't remember. What was the first one again?
So, Final Fantasy, Crash Bandicoot, Tales of series, or Spyro the Dragon?
I'm going to go Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot from Phil, and round to Alan.
I think it was Spyro, actually.
Spyro for Alan, and then round to Ratley. What do we think?
Just to make it interesting, Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy. And so one of you right, and the person who is right is Ratley. It was Final Fantasy. Yes.
I was going to go with Alan, and I was like, no,
yeah.
I'll go different for the hell of it.
Great stuff. Cool. Right, and the final question. Okay, I will say we have got a neck and neck here, and somebody trailing behind, but there's a neck and neck. So,
Phil!
Question number 8. Which game release? Release date did Peter Moore reveal via his inked up bicep in 2004? Was it GTA 4? Was it Halo 2? Was it Fable? Or was it Perfect Dark Zero? And that is now, I've forgotten who was next. It'd
be Phil first this time.
Phil
I
first.
went first last time, didn't I?
No, he did go. No, it's you first, Alan. Sorry, yes, you
It's
first
me.
now.
Halo 2.
Halo 2 from Alan. Ratley.
Halo 2.
Halo 2 from Ratley. And Phil.
Well, I'm not going to say anything else now. They both said Halo 2. And I've done so well in this. Yeah, Halo 2 must have been.
You're right to follow the masses on this one, Phil.
Okay, yes, it was most definitely Halo 2. So, I can tell you at the end
I actually
of that...
watched a video about Halo 2. It was the Halo Master
Yeah,
Collection.
shut up, Chris. I want to know who won.
And it was in that.
You can tell us after, mate. I want to know who the winner was.
So, the scores are Phil on 3 points, and Alan Ratley both on 5 points. But the twist is the person with the least points wins. So well done, Phil.
Hey! Now, Chris, what was your really interesting story? Tell us now. Go on, tell us.
Oh, I didn't have a really interesting story, but I just think I'll talk so Phil can't celebrate.
Great stuff. Cool.
Winner. Round.
Right, well, it's been a super long episode. We've rambled on for ages and ages and ages, but I think it's worth having a good chat. We'll probably chop it up a little bit, make it into more manageable slices rather than one big hour and 40-minute chunk. But from that, I just want to say thanks everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, also on the podcast services if you're listening just to our audio. And all that leaves really is
also check out the headphone review just because it's just to say.
Yes, yeah, check that out. Yeah, of course.
Self-promotion.
Promo.
Are we here next week, Craig? Because I'm not sure we are we?
We're not. No, we're not here exactly next week. No, because E3 is on and we're going to be watching it live. But we will have some reactions afterwards. But watch this space and we'll let you know a little bit more. Yeah. So, So I guess all that leaves then is a bye from Mr. Ratley.
Goodbye, one and all.
A bye from Alan.
Thunderlips McQueen says bye.
And a bye from Mr. Phil.
And that's a rootin' tootin' goodbye from me, Thunderlips. And goodbye to everybody else who's not.
Bye, everyone.